Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hold Up, the show where we dive deep inside your childhood nostalgia, pull the movies from your past out to see if they hold up, and it's Merry Shipmas. And we're on to movie number 2. Merry Shipmas, Kyle. Merry Shipmas, Andrew.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It really is.
Let's get excited, Andrew. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
It's dark. It's cold. It's below 15 degrees. Yeah. Let's go.
And you guys have been watching some great Christmas movies, I imagine, right? It's Kyle's favorite time.
Yeah. Really put me in the holiday spirits. So
I watched The Grinch the other night to cleanse my palate. It's only a Christmas movie if you're imbecile. It's mostly just a take on modern society and socioeconomics of the 1950s. But if you're dumb, it's about Christmas, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you're dumb, you celebrate Christmas because Christmas is just capitalism, like with a bow on it.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, that's what we're at. But I do enjoy a little bit of the holidays. I'm not as much of a Grinch. But Kyle, before we get started today, tell me about your energy levels using gifts given to you by your grandmother.
ooh, that's specific.
Energy level today is... Sorry, I had something in my throat. Okay. Energy level today is going to be a pair of really old woolly socks that she gave you to run in the summertime with. And
Summertime. Interesting.
And a Gap half-quarter zip and some corduroy jeans as like a little outfit to wear. And a Christmas card with some Tootsie Rolls at the bottom of the bag.
And you know that there's like an Old Navy shirt in there sometimes too.
There's something, I think the corduroys were Old Navy.
With a crinkled collar, and you can never get that crinkled out. And then you go to school and you get beat up.
Yeah, Chase, it sounds like a past chat of your life.
Oh yeah, I lived that part of my life for
you did.
all of 28 years. 28 years I lived that life. Andrew, we got to deck our halls this week, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. What a treat. What a treat.
If you were following us on the last episode, we watched Christmas with the Cranks, which we said may be in our top 3, I think, worst movies of all time. And we decided to follow that up with Deck the Halls, this little joy that came out, in 2007? Somebody have the...
2006.
2006. And it stars Matthew Broderick and the great Danny DeVito. What a comedy duo that makes.
I mean, it's really not a bad duo when you think about it.
No,
like, if
it's really
remove it from this context, and you're being pitched a movie with Broderick and DeVito. It's like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
Did you see this movie when you were a kid?
I actually didn't. This is the first time I ever watched it.
Oh, nice.
So not much nostalgia here. It's the first time adventure.
You know what's crazy about this whole thing is I thought I've never seen it. And then I started watching it, and I remembered everything. And I was like, what? Did I see this? And I was thinking on it. And then I was like texting my brother. This was the last movie we saw as a family. We saw it on Thanksgiving before he left for New York. He reminded me of that. So this has a lot of nostalgia to me and him. I really strickened it from my memory and threw it into the portal of hell that it belongs. And we'll get to why.
You brought up your brother. He didn't like the fact that we didn't enjoy Christmas with the Cranks, but I just want to say out loud, Brian, you're wrong there. I'm sorry.
It's okay to be incorrect, and we all got to learn sometimes that your subjective opinion is incorrect.
Well, we appreciate you as a listener, though, Brian, and I'll see you in a week, and we can argue about this over like the family dinner, which will be fun. I'm hopeful Katie's on my side on this one. I think she will be. I don't know.
She probably will be.
I haven't heard her opinion yet.
Yeah. I think most people would be on our side of the fence here, but alas, people have free will. So
yeah, they do. And usually my free will wouldn't be watching these movies, but we're doing it for science. I was going to try to look up some facts for you guys on this movie, like as we kind of go through it, but guess what I have? Nothing. This movie just kind of got made. That's it. That's all I got. I mean, Matthew Broderick worked with a professional speed skater for a scene that we'll get to. That's it. That's all I got. It really was here's the budget. Here's what we want to do. Get them. Let's go. But so paper pop time, nothing on it. Andrew, do you have some numbers? Can you tell me what this movie did in theaters and what its budget was?
Yeah, budget was like 51 million. You know,
Was
seemed pretty high,
was
but
that less than Christmas with the Cranks? I can't remember. I feel like Christmas
I
with the
think it
Cranks.
was right about the same. I think it was about the same, wasn't it?
Maybe I thought Christmas with the Cranks was in the 60 million, but like regardless, I understand why this budget's higher than Christmas with the Cranks. There was more shooting locations.
That and the freaking house with lights, like the whole, like that had to have cost a lot to set up. I mean, my God, that was half the movie was that freaking house with all the lights. So 50 million doesn't seem that bonkers.
I bet it didn't make its money back though.
No, it didn't. It only made altogether gross 47. So
Oof.
yeah, kind of a flop there.
Is that
But
internationally
hey,
too?
that's everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Christmas with the Cranks, to be specific, was 60 million. So only 10 million off. Wasn't ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not ridiculous. It just makes me wonder what the budget for Christmas with the Cranks went to. Like we talked.
We nailed it. It was Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis mainly, and probably Dan Aykroyd, and I don't know if there are other big names in there, but those three probably commanded a hefty salary up front. And I would imagine DeVito, well, I guess DeVito would. Broderick definitely would demand. Kristen Chenoweth was a big name at that time, so I bet most of that money went to the salaries of the four main actors, and the rest went to the fucking house. So that's pretty much it.
We gotta give Matthew Broderick a shout out. This is his third time on the show.
It is, yes.
So is that the most?
Godzilla,
War Games.
Gotta be. Yeah, War Games, and now this. It's got to be up there.
Yeah, it's 3 for sure, unless he popped in on something else. But Matthew, I think you're leading the race of most times on the show. So we will take your money. You can send the check to. I'll send you a PO box on your LinkedIn. I mean, guys, I got nothing. Are we ready to get going? We can make this episode pretty short and sweet.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Daddy.
All right, Kyle, deck the halls. Where does this movie start?
So we begin in Matthew Broderick's doctor's office because he's an optometrist and he's a doctor. It's the only time we see him doing his profession because apparently he can just take off large swaths of time in the Christmas season and not have to worry about anything. So you can already tell he's quite privileged when we get into the first couple minutes of this movie. But start there, he's putting glasses on this lady and he's like making subtle jokes about her being blind as a bat. And then he gives her glasses and she goes, "I am hot." And I was like, oh, that's what kind of movie this is going to be. Cool. So from there,
first bad joke.
More to come too. So.
Yep. But this is already off to a better start than Christmas with the Cranks. Christmas with the Cranks, rather. So good stuff. From there, I believe he goes outside and he interacts with some folks. And then he goes home and he's talking about how they need to, like, it's Christmas time. And what does he say? God, he goes home to his wife and his wife, like, says something to him. And they keep on having a back and forth about Christmas and, like, doing a whole big Christmas this whole time when they're home eating dinner with their kids. So this is where we meet the two kids and they're just, like, whatever.
It's a 10-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, and Matthew Broderick, like you, I think you mentioned, Kyle, he's big into Christmas. So he's like, they're having dinner and he's introducing the Christmas like chore chart. Basically, it's very white bread suburban style Christmas. Like, on this day we're going to put up the wreath, and on this day we're going to take our Christmas card photos. And he feels very childish and very almost vain too at the same time. Everything's, look at us celebrating Christmas. I don't know if you all caught that vibe, but and his family's kind of like, his children's older. They don't really want to kind of do the same Christmas stuff all the time. And his wife is kind of over it. And his son is going through a midlife crisis at 8. That's the joke. Is his son is like trying to kill himself or depressed or something like that?
No, he's just like, he's having a midlife crisis, which I thought was kind of funny. The kid's like, he's like, oh, it's they're like, what's your year been like or something? And they start talking about like how things have gone. And he's like, well, I guess you guys is better than some other people's, I guess. He starts going like, I didn't. What is he? What he lists us a couple of examples of like things he didn't do, and they're like
something about Halo. He makes the Halo reference.
He's like, I achieved Halo. I beat Halo on Legendary, and he said two other things. One was like school related, and academic, and he's like, what do I have to show for it? I'm 10 years old, and what do I have to show for it? I thought that was funny because that was during No Child Left Behind, and that's like, it's kind of like
it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kind of like really up in that vein of like, yeah, that tracks. I bet that kid was feeling like that.
Yeah, especially beating Halo and not getting any recognition for it.
Yeah, for it at all. Like, on Legendary, nonetheless. Like, come on, get the fuck out of here.
I didn't do that.
No, I would. Are you kidding me? I had better things to do with my life. I want to with things
like smoke weed. Is that?
Chase, drugs are illegal. So, yeah, they're like, we found out the kid has like a mental health crisis happening because of school, and
he's bullied, cut him a little slack. He's not the biggest kid. He's not the most strapping 10-year-old. I'm sure he gets picked on.
You want to go over what a strapping 10-year-old is, Andrew?
Probably poor choice of words there, but yeah. He's not a jock. He's not a jock. He doesn't play sports. He's a little chubby. He doesn't meet that criteria.
Andrew's about to get investigated in this whole episode.
You are bringing more attention to it than me, so I'm ready to move on.
Send that file in court.
I'm ready to move on here.
You guys are. I'm ready to move on with this. I've forgiven myself. Okay.
Yeah, my lawyer's forgiven me. I've forgiven me.
I said a prayer. I know God forgives me. This is on you guys now. Guilty.
You've talked about it more than I have up to this point. So
it was just funny the way.
Where do we go? Where do we go?
So, Danny DeVito's characters are moving in across the street, right?
Well, yeah. Well, they go with dinner, and then they go up to bed, and he's like talking to his wife again about Christmas. Like, I just don't want to do all this like Christmas. I was like a lot of Christmas stuff, and he goes. And he literally says one word where he's like, oh, come on. And she goes, you know what? You're right. What my husband likes, I also like.
Yeah.
It was very like, okay, super believable. I was watching with Erica and she kind of laughed. She was like, yeah, no. It didn't really hit. So she's just like, whatever. I'm just going to say this now. This movie can be summed up by the tagline of Matthew Broderick gets unlucky and then proceeds to abandon his identity because things got too hard. And I think I just summed up the entire movie for you right there. But it begins now because across the street.
And women don't have free speech. That's also.
Yeah, but this passes the Bechdel test. So go fuck yourself.
It does.
This
is one movie. This
is a great movie. This is a wonderful.
Definitely.
Did Gretchen watch this movie?
Fuck no.
I'm curious to see because this is technically passing the Bechdel test.
I watched it during my work day. All right, there wasn't much going on. It was one of those. I was sitting on the couch with the laptop like near my face. I fell asleep a couple times. No, she did not watch. So she'd be happy though. She'd be happy to know that it passed. So I'll relay that news when it's time.
It passes the technical standards. It does not pass the. I think what the Bechdel test stands for, but it is funny that it does pass.
It does. Yeah, so we're at that point where we're getting introduced to our other main pivotal character. He's in bed with his wife. They're getting ready to go to sleep. They hear a truck or a car pull up. He's like, Matthew Broderick in his soft little voice is, what's that? What's that? And he gets up, he opens the blinds, and there's a fucking moving truck. What a way to introduce a character. That's great writing right there. But let's have the character pull up in a moving truck at like 10, 11 p.m. at night, just out of the blue.
Wait, to be fair, you just arrived at your new location at 2 a.m.
Yeah, but nobody gives a fuck about
you. Don't know. You don't know if people were looking through the blinds as you were coming through that driveway.
Yeah, more disruptive than they were.
I doubt that. I got out of the truck and went straight to sleep. I didn't make any noise. I was in a piss-ass mood. So
driving from Georgia to Kentucky would have put me in a piss-ass mood, especially that late at night. after moving
Just
all day.
whatever. Regardless, I'm not the centrifugal figure of a fucking Hollywood movie, so
You're
it
taller
doesn't
than Danny
matter.
DeVito, though.
I am by like 7, 8 inches.
So,
'cause I think he's only like 5'2",
so
5'1",
it
something like that.
Kristen
doesn't.
Chenoweth also like a little bit taller than him, which is hilarious because she's
Yeah, but she's tiny.
So and then they all go outside, right, to meet the new neighbors. Didn't that happen
That's the
immediately?
following morning.
The following morning, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, and just to kind of like speed this along a little bit, a lot of this opening movie is just characters meeting characters. We can sum up Matthew Broderick already as like someone who's very into Christmas. He seems like a family man on the surface, but everything he does is like self-centered. Danny DeVito's character is very similar in the same way. He is into Christmas, but he's into a big idea of something more. He hasn't really accomplished a whole lot in his life, and you get from his family, he's moved his family from place to place until he finds his next big idea and then abandons it and leave. Did I sum up these two characters?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're both self-centered, but they come off as like nice, genuine humans. So there's that little divide the whole movie, and you're like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go.
The families meet each other, and they meet each other pretty quick. I'm pretty sure Steve Finch, his name is Steve, right? Is that his name? Is that Broderick's name?
I don't know.
His
They call
wife
him
goes
Finch all
over,
the time.
The wife goes over and meets Kristen Chenoweth, who is putting up a painting. She has Finch's wife, the girl from Sex and the City, mind you. I forgot her name, but she's a big role in that. Chenoweth has, her push her ass up to like hang up this plates above their kitchenette or whatever. And it's uncomfortable, I guess, because you don't really know someone, but you're going up and grabbing their ass. And I believe the line Chenoweth makes, like, oh, what a way to be introduced. And then you find out quickly that she's got 2 twin blonde daughters, and the young son, 10-year-old son of Broderick, is enamored. And then they meet maybe the daughter, and it's like, oh, cool.
He's not just enamored about the girls. He is definitely, but before that, there's like a picture. There's like a picture of Kristen Chenoweth, bare chested,
It's a painting.
Like it's a painting, yeah, of her, like she's on like some kind of like throw, and her breasts are barely covered, and the 10-year-old's just like eyes open, mouth agape, just like staring. Like
he's a kid that's like a few months away from discovering.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This kid is very close to having a seminal moment in his life, and he's being taken on that path by Kristen Chenoweth's painting, which is such a strange painting and odd painting to have in your home, just out.
It's weird. And then we learn after that painting's discovered that she was a model at art classes. And Finch's wife was like, oh, that's wonderful. And Chenoweth is like, yes, that's where me and Danny DeVito met. And she was like, well, was he a painter? And she said something to the effect of, no, he was just a peeping Tom through the window. And I was like, okay, cool. That's a joke.
How you fall in love. I mean,
yeah.
And he's also like 20 years older than she is.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, in real life, yeah.
I mean, not only just in real life,
like,
he comes off as that much older in this movie. Like, it's just hard to hide that. Like, it's
for sure.
But I guess he can sell himself because he is a car salesman.
He is.
Yeah, he's a great salesman. He can sell anything. Don't forget it.
And I take it that this is a new job for him too, right? Like I think I said that earlier, where he just keeps bouncing back and forth because he's like looking for something big in his life or something meaningful.
Yeah.
It's kind of, this point in the movie, like I get like where he's coming from because I think we all have dealt with that in our own lives. So this is not Christmas with the Cranks level, sorry, Brian, where there's no rationale at all. There's a little bit of it here and there. You get why some of these characters are doing the things that they do. It is a little bit overboard, but you expect that from a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give it too much credit because like some of the rationale is not obvious.
I'm just talking about at this certain point in the film.
Logical.
In this certain point in the film, I was along for the ride. I kind of understood everything. Now, they dump it on its head and take it a different direction after this. But at this center line right here, the characters are acting rationally. They're meeting each other. This family's a little bit more conservative and upkept, and this other one's like a little bit more eccentric, and you can see how they're starting to blend, but they're starting to understand each other a little bit.
Yeah,
especially the wives are becoming friends.
Yeah, they hit it off right away, because then Finch's wife takes the kids to school and allows Kristen Chenoweth to stick around and just clean up their house after they moved in, yada, yada, yada. I don't know what the next scene is, so if anyone wants to help me out here, I think it has something to do with Danny and Steve, but shit if I remember.
So Buddy and Steve don't quite see eye to eye. I feel like Steve feels threatened by Buddy because Buddy has the same kind of Christmas spirit he does. And then we cut to show Buddy, which we mentioned is a good salesman. So he shows up at his car dealership. And then they're kind of razzing him. And if you sell the next car, we'll all pay you a portion of our commission or something.
$3,000.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something.
It was a simple bet. It was like if all right, let's all place a bet. I bet you $1,000 you can't go out there and get that guy to buy a car, and then all the other guys are like, make it another $1,000, make it another $1,000, $3,000. He goes, okay, you guys make sure you have your cash ready, no checks. Or maybe he says that afterwards, but he goes afterwards. But he goes out and he talks to this guy for like 2 seconds, and then he comes back and he goes, all right, guys, cash, no checks. And they're like, what? And the guy walked in and he goes, he's like, he's the owner of the dealership. And the guy comes in who he just sold it to, and he goes, I just bought a car off my own lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. And that's why they took the bet, because they didn't think that he would buy a car. They tried to set him up, and he ended up selling a car. And you're like, well, damn, he's one of the best salesmen we'll ever see.
I appreciate not trying to explain how he's so good through scene and dialogue. I'm glad that we just saw it from the outside looking in. So that I was like, okay, that's not that bad. That's actually a pretty fun little thing.
Yeah, it was funny.
The guy who ran the floor, I think he was the son of the owner. I don't remember what he said, but his character made me laugh. He was just dumb as shit. And I don't know if you all caught on to that, but it reminded me of the stagehand character in Jingle All the Way. Just a little bit crazy, a little bit just over the top, but the timing was great and he made me laugh. Again, I don't remember the speech. It wasn't memorable, but I was like, all right, this is a character. This is a choice. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it worked pretty well. And he was even like, I have years of experience in Danny DeVito's characters. Like, no, you don't. Your dad owns the company. He's like, well, I have years of being around my dad. And I thought that was pretty funny too.
And quickly it goes, after that scene is over, it fast forward to him walking home, or getting home at night, taking the keys and locking the door, walking in, honey, I'm home, yada, yada, yada. She asks him how his day went. He's like, oh, I sold a car. And she goes, oh, well, I knew you would. And he's like, yeah, I'm the best salesman there is. But then he gets like mopey. Like he just starts like mopey. She goes, oh, what's wrong? Oh, don't start this again. You promised me you're not going to do this. He's like, oh, okay, you're right. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to fade on whatever project's in front of me and quit and move on to something else, even though he does. And it pretty much is established that he has some issues with commitment and staying the course. And that's pretty much all that happens, though. His daughters, he goes over and speaks to his daughters, greets them for the evening, and they're on something called like earthnet.com or whatever, which is essentially Google Earth, where you can zoom in and find a house. And what does he discover is he can't see his house from space. There's no lights there. It's not visible.
I think he's one of the 10% that you can't see from space. Am I right? Like,
yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah, it's so stupid.
It was dumb. He was like, my house isn't big enough to be seen. I'm like, I don't know about that. It looks like your house is pretty much the same size as Broderick's house. It's just maybe the map hasn't been updated. They haven't taken pictures. But regardless, it bothers him a great deal that his house can't be seen from space. Keep it in mind, okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
That sparks an idea with him, doesn't it, Andrew?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sure does.
Christmas? What can you do with Christmas that can help your house be seen from space?
You can decorate it with Christmas lights in an extravagant way, if that's what you really want to do. And that is what Buddy really wanted to do. So he goes downtown, which, mind you, downtown Cloverdale, that's where they live, Cloverdale, Massachusetts. They're trying to make it look like some Hallmark town with a a cutesy little downtown strip with brownstone buildings. There's always snow. It is important. We'll get to that in a bit. But he goes and buys out like all of the Christmas lights.
And to be fair, my
stores.
dad like loves these towns anytime he sees them in a movie or a TV show. And these towns don't exist really hardly anymore. They're usually the outskirts of bigger cities is where this is being filmed or on a back lot.
Yeah. Wait, a back lot. Isn't that where you were conceived, Chase?
Yes.
A back lot?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Wait, never mind. That's where you and I. Yeah, I remember now. Andrew.
Yeah, no, Andrew's got a cover for that one, or the FBI will be on to us.
True. Andrew, do your work, son.
I got you. Don't worry.
Appreciate you.
All right. Let's not get too sidetracked here. What?
It sounds like you are sidetracked. So he decides to do all these Christmas lights. So he goes downtown to start buying his decorations. And as he's like mingling through town, people are starting to catch an eye about him, and they're starting to like fall in love with him. Basically, they're cheering him on, and he's kind of got the Christmas spirit because he
becomes the town Christmas guy,
which steps on Matthew Broderick's toes because he even says, I think at one point, "I'm Mr. Christmas around here." And
yes, he does.
So now he's starting to take a back seat to the new guy. And that's pretty much the plot of this movie, everybody. Yeah. It's
Matthew Broderick gets unlucky and then gives up his identity because it gets too hard.
Yes.
For him to get back.
Instead of him just working, and Buddy wants to be friends with him, and instead of him just like, him and Buddy just having friendly competition, or him and Buddy just like working together to throw the best Christmas ever, they each now try to one-up each other so that they can be the king of Christmas. And that's, I mean, we're going to still go through it, but that's the rest of the movie. That's it right there. And
that's pretty much it.
And Buddy's mission now is to try to get a bunch of lights and see them from space, which is, Kyle, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the reality of that. You're our expert reality statistician, so tell us, lights from space, is that possible? Maybe it is, but is it possible from a Christmas light standpoint?
Sure, but like you'd have to have a fucking satellite. It's such a dumb thing to think. Like you're not asking the right question, and it's a dumb question to ask anyways. But like, but like, no, you're like, yeah, you can see lights from space at night. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why we know that North Korea is pretty much like eternal darkness compared to South Korea. And but like the satellites you need to like see individual houses are the ones you would use for Google Maps. And there's a reason why you don't fucking map something at night, because you can't fucking see anything at all. So yeah, to answer your question, sure, but like we don't have access to it, and if we did, they wouldn't have had access to it back then because it didn't exist like that. So only the government had shit like that.
Right. And you're talking about how many Christmas lights would it, I mean, to distinguish from your house from everyone else's. So if you zoom in, right, to your point, like we're asking multiple questions here, your house is going to blend in with the other houses that have lights. It's like to be seen from space with the amount of lights that you have to put on, there's no power in your subdivision that would you would need nuclear power, I would think.
For the idea, we don't want to get to the end too quick, but we're getting there pretty quick. But essentially, their point is that like, if you took a satellite and zoomed in, you'd be able to see it. In that case, I would say, sure, yeah. From the street lights and whatnot, maybe the house lights, you could distinguish it, sure. But like the way that they make it look is as if like it's a laser beam. And that is absolutely like shit brain, bird brain idea. Why? No. Like, no. It would have to be an actual laser. And even if it was, the laser focus would dissipate so quickly at that distance that I don't even know if it would show up like that. So, no. Like, no.
Here's the deal, though. Having your house seen from space due to the lights that you have and the extravagance of it is just a way to illustrate how down Buddy is as a person. Like the fact that he puts that much stock in wanting to have Christmas lights and a whole brilliant display on his new home in a new city where he hardly knows anyone, again, just demonstrates how down this dude is. Like, he clearly has some depression issues. He's got some stuff that he needs to work through. We just got to think of it through that lens, not the
Right.
logical. You know what I mean? Like,
He can't
yes,
think logically about Christmas
you
movies
can't.
anymore.
No, he can't.
So
But to my point, he builds this thing up. Like, he creates this ridiculous display. I mean, the lights are beaming at 3 a.m. through Broderick's front bedroom window. Hell, he even gets like a manger, like an animal display with like camels and sheep.
and he's got music
And-
playing and LED lights like going off to the sounds of the music.
And he gets horses. He gets horses and puts fake antlers on their
So
head to make them look like reindeer.
That was going to be my next scene. So he gets a sleigh. We're bouncing all over the place, but it's all going in one path here. He gets the horses, as you said, Andrew, and like a lot of the neighborhood kids are coming over and taking photos with it. And Matthew Broderick's like trying to get his family into these ugly sweaters. And
they're trying to do their Christmas photos.
Yeah, they're trying to do their Christmas photo, and Buddy is like, "Hey, why don't you take it in front of the sleigh? It'll be something different," which is not a bad idea. And the family's like, "Yeah, it's different than what we usually take in front of a green screen." And Matthew Broderick's like, "I don't know about that. That's stupid. We got to do the same thing we've always done because I can't break tradition." And Buddy ends up talking him onto the sleigh, and he's like, "Hey, make sure you don't scream though, because these horses are wild, and I caught them out back." Like, it was something so dumb like that. And he's,
what is it with Christmas movies and people committing crimes left and right? Like, it's their fucking job.
I don't know.
God.
Like,
this isn't even. There are more crimes that are committed in this movie that borderline domestic terrorism. But
right, like,
why does that keep occurring? Why?
Like,
is it just like cheap ideas? Like cheap. I don't know, but it's a common theme through many of our Christmas movies.
All of them.
It's there.
I think all of them. I don't think there's a single Christmas movie we've watched that didn't have at least 3 to 4 crimes. And in this one, animal endangerment. I don't know what kind of charges you get there. I would have to ask my dad on that one. But Matthew Broderick doesn't hear the knowledge and starts like yelling, and then the horses just get spooked and they take off with him in the sleigh and just cause mass amounts of damage all over the small town. And Matthew Broderick gets like thrown into a lake.
Yep. What happens is the sleigh slides out over this frozen pond, and of course, in dramatic fashion, the pond caves in, and he just plummets into icy cold water.
I hope they got to him soon enough.
He wakes up in the back of his wife's minivan, and it's Buddy patting him in the sleeping bag that he's in. And Buddy happens to be nude himself, and Broderick asks, like, "Why are you naked?" He's like, "Well, body heat's just going to warm you up." And he screams, and that's the end of the scene. And then you get to see the picture that they took, and it's him in the hospital with like.
I actually did laugh at this.
Skin. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, because and Buddy photoshopped the sweater on him in the hospital.
Yes.
Like, so I actually did laugh at this. Like, it's like, why would you think that was an okay time to take your Christmas card photo?
Sweater with like hypothermic skin and an IV in your body. Like,
he looked like he just got poisoned by like Novichok, and like he's being held in a Russian prison camp. Like Will. It's very funny.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. And this is that one scene that made me laugh in the movie. I didn't laugh very much at this, but this joke made me laugh so hard. So they get their Christmas photo, and now we get like Matthew Broderick trying to like sabotage him, like almost as like a revenge. So he's like,
well, he wants to sabotage him because he's fed up with everything. There's another scene where they're going to cut down their own Christmas tree, and Buddy accidentally knocks over this canister of gasoline that just happens to fill up like the entire ravine where these Christmas trees are planted. And Broderick goes to chop down the tree, and the axe hits the metal stake, which causes a spark and causes the gasoline to pretty much the trees all catch on fire and they get burnt down. That's exactly what happened. That sounds ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I know to the listeners back home, and it is ridiculous, but that's what happens. And at this point, Broderick or Finch is just like, all right, I've had it with this guy. This is bullshit. He's stealing my thunder, and he's ruining my Christmas moments. And
yeah, which is also another crime, burning down like an entire lot full of trees, so added that to
Even
the
if it's
crime.
an accident, that's still a crime.
Yeah, and spilling diesel fuel on the ground, just haphazardly, which is so stupid. How like he was able to, like, diesel fuel is not as flammable, so one spark probably wouldn't have done it. We getting like
Oh,
that.
come on, Chase. Come on. Expand that imagination. Be okay with it.
Feeling
right?
suspended disbelief, you fuck.
Yeah.
Fine. That one spark that metal axe hitting wood caused that entire forest fire, basically, which wouldn't have gone out that quickly either. But Andrew, what else happens in the middle of this? Like, what kind of sabotage do we get? We'll bounce around, but tell us a little bit more.
Steve tries to go and file a complaint with the sheriff at the police station, but then he learns that he's a cross-dresser and has a bra underneath.
What
his
was
uniform.
that about?
I thought that was
Literally.
fucking hilarious. I thought that was so fucking dumb.
That was
funny.
so stupid.
It was
I don't
so
know.
dumb. It was funny.
Because he
kind of
was like,
spilled to him at the beginning of the movie. The mayor was like, "I'm going to tell you something, and I've never told anyone this, but Sheriff what's his name is a cross-dresser." I don't remember the context or why he told him, but then we find out when he goes to file a formal complaint that he wears underwear, thongs.
well, what you get
bras for
first
fun.
to explain the scene is Matthew Broderick sees the bra, and it kind of looks like it could be a shoulder girdle.
Shoulder brace.
Yeah, so like he's like, "Oh no, my wife made this for me because I dislocated my shoulder a few weeks ago." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he goes, "Well, I'll get you a form to fill out." And he goes and bends down to the filing cabinet. You just see this thong.
She a big
Giant
thong.
red thong.
So
whale tail.
I will say it is funny, but I would have liked to like bleed that joke out. So at first you don't really know, and as the movie progresses, you show a little more, and then at the end maybe you see the thong, and you're like, oh, he really is a cross-dresser. But they just blow their load all in one go. But it's an hour and a half movie, so I guess they didn't have time to funnel that all in.
But at this point, it becomes like a 1 versus 1. It's Buddy versus Steve. Steve can't deal with Buddy's attention that he's getting. I mean, the light show that he has is super eccentric. He's stealing his thunder as a town Christmas guy, and he's had enough. And there was one moment that just set Steve off that caused Buddy to go out and gift him a car. You remember that? He gifts him a car, gets him.
Yeah, but
I
what
said
does he
that in
do?
quotes.
What's the inciting incident? What does he do?
There's at one point where he
remember.
throws an ice ball into his
That's right. To get
his
him
breaker
shut
box,
down.
so he can't light his lights anymore.
But then he hooks it up to a fucking generator, which also kind of didn't make any sense. But okay.
Yeah,
But he does that, so then he just kind of made things bad to worse. And this is where it's again Matthew Broderick just gets unlucky. It's not like he does anything bad, except for it's all written bad. But his character point of view,
It's destruction of property. It's another crime.
yeah, oh for sure. But they're gonna get crimes against each other so much now, so it doesn't matter. It's all gonna equal out in the end. They might as well do a civil suit and settle and agree to fucking nothing. But that's what gets him to the point where he's so incensed with Buddy that he decides that he has to, or Buddy, he gets so mad at Steve that he decides to commit another crime. and Steve wakes up the next morning. He's like, hey, he's like, but what is it? He wakes up and there's like, it's not the car first. He gives him something else. Right.
So the reason he gets the car is because Matthew Broderick was complaining, and he ended up going over to Buddy's house, and he has the lights up, and everyone's parked in the cul-de-sac and in the neighborhood itself.
That's right. He tries to back out.
And Matthew Broderick he's angry because there's so many people around, and not really that they're around, but they're just kind of like enjoy Buddy's house and the Christmas spirit. So he's kind of frustrated, and he tries to back out, and someone's trying to help him while they're looking at the lights, and he gets his car just stuck in between two cars, both with towing hitches, and he tries to move forward. He's like, yeah, you just got to rip it off like a Band-Aid, and it takes both doors out. So when Matthew Broderick sabotages Buddy's house, he sees that, knowing that he needs a new car. He goes and basically purchases a car for him and gives himself commission, like that would work, and then gifts it to him. So Matthew Broderick and his wife think that this is a gift, which would be a red flag. and doesn't really notice what he's doing. And then
there's another big detail that fits in with this car as well. So he gives him the car, but there's also another gift that he gives him. He gives him a Christmas tree. And why does he give him a Christmas tree? Well, the night before, Matthew Broderick goes downtown Cloverdale and meets some guy in a back alley. You think he's going to like go to purchase like drugs or weapons. But no, he goes and purchases fireworks. Like
illegal fireworks.
Illegal
fireworks, another crime. I think is that not a felony, Kyle?
Well, this is the domestic terrorist part here.
Yeah.
Because in Broderick's bright mind, he's like, I'm gonna take these fireworks and I'm gonna shoot them off at Buddy's house. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, that's gonna show him. So he gets up on his roof and he starts firing away. Like these are like Roman candle type things. And it just shoots some like rockets from the top of the roof straight across. Honestly, the angling wasn't great with that cinematography. I thought it was going to miss every single time, but it hits. And then in his clumsy state, he slips and falls and knocks off the big kahuna, which is like, I think it was called the atomic something. And it goes down his chimney into his kitchen, gets lit and shoots off and destroys like their living room. And their Christmas tree is in flames, as is the inside of that front wall. So when Buddy finds out about that's when he's like, all right, this guy's on my tail. He's trying to ruin everything for me. I'm going to give him a new Christmas tree, which he goes to the town square, cuts down their large one, saws it. You don't know this till later, but saws it, breaks into Broderick's house, plants it in there, and then gives him that new car as well.
Where are we at on crimes, Kyle? We're
like 4 now, 3 or 4.
I'm looking to 10 to 15 years.
Oh, possibly even.
And Danny DeVito gives him the car and basically signs it off on him. And Matthew Broderick gets a letter the next day saying he needs to pay for the car or he's going to be prosecuted.
Or he's going to be arrested.
Yeah, so he goes down, and that's when he finds out that, and that's when basically when they're the jig is up at that point. They're both onto each other, but
yeah,
they go, neither one of them are working this entire time. Like Danny DeVito's not selling cars; he's basically putting Christmas lights up the whole time. Matthew Broderick is just running around town trying to sabotage Danny DeVito. I've not seen him in his office since the first scene of the movie, like Kyle said. And then we get this big town square Christmas festival that has a speed skating competition. Go ahead.
Before we get to that is the next segment here. But once Broderick goes to DeVito and calls him out and was like, you didn't gift this to me, I have to pay. And DeVito's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. He's like, I'm going to get my lawyers on you and I'm going to sue your ass because he had a legal right to do so. But instead of, threatening him and actually following through with those threats, he decides to make a deal with Buddy. They shake hands that if Broderick loses to DeVito in the town speed ski Winterland festival, then he has to pay for the car and all bets are off.
Yep.
So instead of recouping the $25,000, $30,000 that you're set to owe a dealership legally, you agree with a gentleman's handshake or gentleman's agreement, if you will, that's out the window if you lose the speed skating competition in the Cloverdale Winter Festival. So,
where we are. He was a speed skater in college. He's got this. Matthew Broderick was. He knows what he's doing.
He was. So,
and this is the part of the movie with the only fact I had where Matthew Broderick trained with an actual speed skater for months.
He was clearly on actual skates.
He did this scene, and he didn't have to train like he did. So bravo, Matthew Broderick, on this. I do want to bring up something, too, before. So they're down at the town festival, and everyone's having a good time. There's, like, shows being put on. There's, like, little booths.
There's a show.
And that's what I want to talk about. So they are... Okay. So Danny DeVito he's trying to still be friendly with Matthew Broderick, and he's kind of nudging him, and this show starts, and you see these 3 women, and they are dancing. They're wearing some sexy Santa outfits, And Danny DeVito's just kind of like riling Matthew Broderick up. He's like, "Hey, you're a red-blooded male. You love this, right?" And he's like, "Okay." And he starts like getting him to worked up so he can go like, "Who's your daddy?" And he's like yelling at these three women on stage, like, "Who's your daddy?"
Calling them. And
Yeah.
like a nice, town festival.
Like a dad, like a perverted dad.
Like, you would think that a man who is like probably the town eye doctor wouldn't be acting out like that, wouldn't be saying shit that is.
But and what's funny is like they're obviously saying this out loud, and no one around them is even like batting an eye. Like he does this every weekend. They're all just kind of smiling and enjoying the show, and then the three girls turn around and it's their daughters.
Yep.
It was so dumb.
It's so dumb. And then he goes, "Oh, I'm your daddy," and it just cuts to a scene of them in a Catholic church, and they're like washing their eyes
with holy water.
So blasphemous.
Yeah, washing their eyes out with holy water, talking about going to hell, and that's it. They say it's time for the speed skating competition. They both just let it go and then just run out.
The person announces it, and they happen to hear it in the church. 5 minutes, and they're like, "Oh, let's leave," and they just leave. You're right. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So
and that's the extent of it right there. And then so now we get the speed skating competition. Matthew Broderick is clearly the favorite here, but we got Fred Armisen. Andrew, if you want to introduce his character in all this.
It's this German guy and his wife, and they're both. Armisen does a decent German dialect because he can do every dialect known to man, but like clearly they're not actually German. That was the character choice or a directorial choice, if you will. Just some German guy living in Cloverdale with his wife. That's pretty much it. He doesn't have many lines. There was one moment actually, and we're harkening back a bit. There were carolers that came to Broderick's house earlier in the movie, and Broderick was excited, and he gets out and he's like asking for recommendations. And I think Armisen's character says something like, "Oh, can we sing Acorn in My Pocket?" And it's just like,
yeah, Acorn is so good.
In like a Swedish accent. Yeah.
It was Swedish, German. It was something Nordic, Germanic, if you will. They might have even been German. It might have been Scandinavian. But yeah, that he and his wife are two of the four competitors in the Winterland Festival or whatever it is.
And who wins the speed skating competition, Andrew?
Who do you think wins? It's Danny DeVito, buddy. He wins.
Wearing a Red Wings jersey.
Just gets lucky. Literally, like he gets lucky. Matthew Broderick gets unlucky again.
Yep.
I mean, at least they're staying consistent.
Yeah, which Kyle, you nailed it. He lost his identity. He's no longer the great speed skater anymore. And then I think that's where we get our turning point, right?
Both of their families leave him at this point.
Yeah.
They get to the point where DeVito wants to just keep building and building upon what he's made with his house. But just to throw some logic in there, he doesn't have a job anymore. His wife mentions debt at the beginning of the movie. So where is he getting all this money, and why is he spending it all? Like, what is the desired outcome here?
Kind of like undiagnosed gambling addiction or something.
Yes, but instead of gambling, it's spending lots of money on Christmas lights.
Yep.
They allude to him just spending money, period. And then Matthew Broderick's wife's fed up with his behavior as well. So their two families leave together and go stay at a hotel.
It's not just a hotel. It's a motel. It's one of those that has like staircases and patios on the front. There's no elevator there.
Right.
This is like the town Motel 8.
Yeah, and they're both their houses are damaged. It's going to cost thousands in repairs.
100%. Yeah.
And then Matthew Broderick at this point finds out that Danny DeVito's hooked up the lights to his house. So he's been using his power. And then I can't remember what happens next. They kind of get into don't they get into a verbal fight or what happens?
Yeah, there's a confrontation out front in the lawn, and he's like, "You're just a big loser," is what Broderick tells him. Yada, yada, yada. You're never going to amount to anything. And DeVito's like, "Well, your family's not here either, loser."
And what kills me in this whole situation is like they don't get into a fist fight. Nothing really happens. They just both go home and then just look at photos of their family and miss them. And then they come together to like try to win their family back. So how does that happen, Kyle?
They all have a change of hearts, or at least Danny DeVito does. But this is where I fell asleep. So
I can tell you.
So they have an idea to they build a light trail.
The light trail that connects from the outside of the motel all the way through town, miles and miles of lights that he's taken off his house.
And not just and in like awnings and the reindeer, it's like a really nice setup. It would have taken them days to do this, but they were able to accomplish this in 6 hours.
Not even 6 hours. Right. I'm going to say 2 hours. 2 hours. But like I said, it weaves all the way through town. It's miles in length, and it leads all the way back to the Hall's Buddy DeVito's house. And the kids are like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Where's this lead? Let's walk miles and miles in the snow and figure it out.
These kids are so stupid. They can't figure out that this.
So dumb.
So they walk all the way back home instead of driving. And they get there, and they've prepared a massive dinner as well. Remember, at the earlier in the point in the day is when they decide to try to win them back, and it's now at night. And it looks like it's like 8 o'clock. It doesn't look like it's super late. So they've cooked this massive dinner and prepared all these lights, and the family comes back and just instantly forgives them. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Because I think the real kicker was Broderick made recipes from his wife's new cookbook.
And Danny DeVito bought his wife a priceless vase from a museum.
He bought it back.
So
he bought it back.
He brought up. Oh yeah, he bought it back. Okay, there you go.
Because he had sold that for more Christmas lights, and that was one of the breaking points for Chenoweth to leave. Yeah, and so
she instantly forgives him. The families are just like, "Oh, our husbands are back," and it's like, not really.
Okay. And now they're seemingly kind of friends, I guess. But like, I don't know. Sure, whatever. But at this point, we find out that like MTV wants to come and do a special on the lights. But why can't they do that, Chase or Kyle? Someone, why can't they do a special?
Because they took all the lights off the house to build that damn walkway.
So what do we have to do to make that happen?
We have to call the entire town to come out, including police and firefighters who are on active duty, to come help put all the Christmas lights up so that MTV can come and show this story about Buddy's lights being seen from space.
So Steve Finch, Broderick, who has sullied his reputation around town.
Cat called his own daughter.
And not showing up to work. He calls every person, every source he has in town to bring as many Christmas lights to their residents as you can. And again, they put up that light trail in 2 hours. So they put up the lights on DeVito's house back
in 30 minutes.
I'm going to say 30, 45 minutes. And and essentially we're pretty much at the end.
Because they try to turn the lights on after everyone's come together, and the lights are not on. They do not turn on.
Too much. There's a voltage issue.
Feel like dumb 2000 aughts, and instead of like doing a candlelight thing, everybody takes out their fucking flip phones and
starts singing. It's like the Who. It's the Who's in Whoville is what it is. It is a direct reference to how the Grinch Stole Christmas. It is so eye rolling.
But Kristen Chenoweth has a great voice, and she wasn't lip syncing at all.
No, she has a great voice, and I think that this was a sign-on bonus. We'll get you in this movie, and we'll get you a musical number, because I think that's what she has to do in every movie she's in, and it's no different in this movie. She gets a musical number. I'm so glad it lasted this way.
Yeah. But that's pretty much the end of the movie. They sing "O Holy Night." They're waving their flip phones, but then Finch, Broderick's son, realizes the switch isn't on.
Well, let's talk about the flip phones. That dated this movie so bad.
Oh, it was so bad. And those lights were nothing. Like, it wasn't even that bright.
Oh, are you kidding me? That Motorola Z Flip? You telling me that didn't have the lights for days? You could probably see that from space. And it was the slide phones too. So you had a chocolate envy. Someone was sliding a chocolate envy to turn it on and off. Oh, it's so bad.
Whatever.
Half our listeners don't even know what we're talking about.
They don't. That's okay. But the son flips the light switch. The lights come on. It's even
he plugged in what looked like a nuclear reactor.
Yes, it was a giant fucking, I guess you call it a plug, and that's what did it. Lights came on, and oh, surprise! Holy shit, that's bright. And then I think we switched to like a space station where it's freaking Kumar who's speaking in a British dialect, talking about, oh yeah, we can see it now. Oh my gosh, look at them lights. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, you did it. Cool, neat. You got seen from space. That's what you set out to do.
And it's a bright ass light. It looks like a death ray coming out from like, where did you say this was? Massachusetts?
Cloverdale, Massachusetts.
Like it was ready to take down that. I wanted to see an Independence Day version of this where the beam of light hits the space station and the space station just explodes, a la Moonraker, and I would have given this movie 5 stars. I would have been totally into it at that point.
I'm with you on that.
There's a deleted scene somewhere, hopefully. But yeah, they can see the lights from space. That's pretty much it. They come to terms with their friendship now. And they have this like running joke in the whole movie where he's like, let's start over. He's like, hi, I'm Steve Spinch. Nice to meet you. And I'm Buddy Hall. Nice to meet you. And so they have this running joke and they finally nail it at the end of it. And that's it. They're friends now. Their families are together. The Christmas spirit is building as many lights as possible to be seen from space. That's all I got. I mean,
and credits roll, literally.
Credits roll. So, it ends as quickly as it began.
It's only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like an hour.
It still felt longer than that.
It did.
Andrew, let's start with you. Kyle, I'm going to save you for last. This is the first time you saw this movie. What'd you think of it as an adult?
I mean, I've seen worse. It wasn't great. I didn't feel like it was an hour and a half completely well spent, but it was better than Christmas with the Cranks. Legitimately.
And that was going to be a question that I'm going to get to with all three of us, because this is Merry Shipments. We're watching the worst Christmas movies. We started with Christmas with the Cranks, and the idea was we weren't going to go in liking this movie. We kind of know what it is. We know what it is on Rotten Tomatoes. We know what the general consensus is of it. But is it worse than Christmas with the Cranks is the question we're trying to answer today. And
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I do not think it is. And I feel pretty strongly in that. The movie itself is pretty dumb. The idea, the plot, the motives behind everything all drove me insane. But there were some redeeming moments where I laughed. I actually laughed. I chuckled. I didn't laugh once during Christmas with the Cranks. Well, maybe there was one little like... but that's it. There were a couple times I actually audibly laughed in this.
Yeah.
It's stupid shit, but still funny.
So
still funny.
I'm with you. I didn't care for this movie. I thought it was really boring.
You fell asleep.
But the thing that I was telling you is I don't feel like the characters there was some redeemable qualities to some of these characters. It was very off the radar. It was overblown. But they at least had some good intentions. With Christmas with the Cranks, like, I didn't like any single character in that movie, and I felt like they were all just like, I wanted to stab them.
They were the worst people.
Yeah, they were all the worst people. It was just one of those movies where, like, yeah, I get we're watching a Christmas movie, and I get that, like, some of the Christmas themes are people come together, love is love. I get all that. But in Christmas with the Cranks, nothing made sense. In this movie, some of it made sense. Some. I'm just going to say some. There were a couple laughable moments. I didn't laugh that much. I laughed more. I think I doubled it from Christmas with the Cranks. If I laughed twice, that's 4,000% more than I laughed with Christmas with the Cranks. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is better than Christmas with the Cranks. I don't think it's a particularly good movie. I don't ever really want to watch it again, but it's not that offensive. It's not like on that level, and that's where I stand. And I didn't. And the sad part is I didn't remember it for such a nostalgic moment for me and my brother. Like, I mean, the last like movie we saw in theaters before he moved to New York, it should have held more weight, good or bad. And I'd forgotten I'd even seen it until I started watching it, and then he reminded me, and I was like, wow. But it's super forgettable. It is hard to remember this movie. I watched it last night, and just us trying to talk about it, I'm like racking my brain to try to remember what happened. Kyle, what'd you think of Deck the Halls?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely, for sure, not good. I don't really have any feelings of ill will towards this movie or the people that made it. I think they had parts in it that were enjoyable. I didn't hate watching it, and I would rather watch this over Christmas with the Cranks, over the Santa Claus, over like a lot of pretty big Christmas movies, I would rather watch this over.
That's surprising to some extent. To some extent.
It's not as good as anywhere near as good as like Elf or Christmas Vacation or The Grinch, but like, or Just Friends. But like, this is not a hateful Christmas movie by any means.
Yeah, it's not. I agree there, but I still stand firm. It's not a very good movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it too much of a pass because there were moments while watching. I laugh, but there were also just as many, if not more, eye rolls or sighs. It was still there.
Andrew, do you think it holds up?
It's tough for me to say because like I don't have anything to go off of. Like there isn't.
We're already deep into our Christmas run. I mean, we watched the Santa Claus, we watched Jingle All the Way.
No, I don't think it holds up. This is not one that I would want to watch again.
Okay,
This is not one that I would want to watch again. I'd maybe put it on for kids. If I had children, I'd let them watch it. But I think after a certain age, it would lose its luster for sure.
Here's the deal for me, and I'll ask you next, Kyle. And maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I say it doesn't hold up. The reason I say it doesn't hold up is because there are a lot of good Christmas movies out there. Same thing with Halloween and horror movies. You don't have to subject yourself to the mid to low tier Christmas movies, and I know that there's like a fun factor to that with Halloween movies. Like if you're watching kind of just like really shitty ones and know you're in for shitty ones, it's still entertaining. The really bad Christmas movies and the really shitty ones are not entertaining at all to me. They're all like in that same level where they're trying super hard to bring a point home and they don't need to be. And like I said, there's so many other good Christmas movies out there. It's hard for me to say this one holds up. I'd rather go watch Jingle All the Way like 40 billion times over.
Yes, I watched that recently, like a few weeks ago, and like again, stupid, but I would still rather watch.
Right, it's dumb. I'm gonna watch the Gremlins, which I think is a great Christmas movie that people often forget about.
Yes,
but Kyle, what do you think?
Well, you both aren't correct. This does hold up because I don't think we're looking at this fairly. I think it's easy for us to shit on movies that don't like make us stimulated for every single second of watching it, and I don't think that's what we're rating this on. And I think that that's not a really great way to talk about this movie because this is not an earth-shattering movie. This is not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie. And I'm sorry, but like if we're gonna go off of the other Christmas movies that we watched, I'm not gonna say that this is as good as Jingle All the Way, but there has to be some kind of bridge between this and The Santa Claus and Christmas with the Cranks and God forbid Jack Frost, like really bad, like just hateful movies. This had some intent behind it. It had some good scenes that we all decided that we laughed at, that we thought was funny. And I don't remember laughing that much at Jingle All the Way. I remember that there were some spots in it that were like funny, but I think this had more comedic moments in it and the writing was a little bit better in some places. The overall theme of the movie was dog shit and it doesn't make any sense. And it's absolutely asinine that like somebody would spend their money on this stuff. But I believe that over everything that I believe in like Christmas with the Cranks. Like it's just, at least they stuck with it. At least they made a choice and they stuck with it and they did some things that were bland and dumb. But like, I believe that these characters exist in this world. I don't think that Danny DeVito is a bad person, but he's not a good person either. And there's something like, I don't know, something that like is intriguing about that and fun. We can't say that this is a bad movie simply because it's not as good as another movie.
Hey, Chase, what did we say about your brother just being wrong earlier?
Yeah.
I hate to disagree with you, Kyle, but some of the movies that you've listed, I think, are a notch above this one. Truly. That's just my opinion.
The Santa Claus? You think the Santa Claus and Christmas? No.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I stand by that.
I'm with Andrew on that one.
I will hang up the phone.
I watched Jingle All the Way 2 weeks ago, and I far more enjoyed that 90-minute watch than the one I did today.
The Santa Claus, we talked about this. The Santa Claus is one of the worst movies we've watched.
No, it's not. No. I think you're mistaking that. We all agreed that the Santa Claus was kind of mid as an adult, but it's not a bad movie. I remember you saying that. You're like, it's really not that bad. There's not much meat to it, but it's not that bad. And I've watched the Santa Claus so many times in my life. It's a far better movie than this one.
So what we're saying is go back and listen to the Santa Claus episode from last season. Check that out and double check us and let us know in the comments who's right, who's wrong.
You know what? Here's a fun test. In terms of Matthew Broderick movies, where does this land?
Second.
War Games is obviously. I don't know. It's tough.
Okay, let's talk about it.
It's either Godzilla or this one. Godzilla was fucking stupid, but like I don't know, it was still entertaining. This one doesn't do it for me. I would put this. I think I'd probably put this third. I would go War Games 1, Godzilla 2, and Deck the Halls 3.
You're joking. You would rather sit through a 2.5-hour Godzilla movie that we all wanted to end.
I'd rather not do either. But if you were making me pick, yes.
I would say I would rather sit through this than Godzilla again, especially as how offensive Godzilla is to Japanese culture and Godzilla itself. Like as an adult, I can't watch Godzilla. I mean, we put that as like our second or third least favorite movie of all time. As much as I don't like this movie and didn't like it and was bored out of my mind watching it, I can't say it's that bad.
I just, in terms of like, every year we go and we pull out Christmas movies to watch, like just on our own, just to fit the mood. I don't think I would ever pick this one to watch again. I just wouldn't.
I don't think that's the only way we should look at this, though.
There's so many ways we can look at it. I'm just going based off feeling after how I felt when I watched it and now discussing it with you. That is how I feel. And I did not care for it. I really didn't care for it.
But that's a good question, Kyle, to bring up the Matthew Broderick trio of movies we've seen. So that is a really good point where we're trying to see where that stacks up in the middle of all that.
I think the reason why I said Godzilla is because I go back to when we first reviewed it, and that episode itself is so funny because of what we endured. And that's not necessarily a testament to Godzilla as a film because it's a steaming pile of shit. But just thinking about some of that stuff that we had to watch is quite funny. It really is.
So I think what we're getting to is we are making movies better.
Oh, you think so, huh?
Kyle, do you agree on that?
In what way?
We are making some of these shitty movies better because now Andrew has nostalgia for our episodes over the movies themselves.
When you dissect it, when you really go into the details, I wouldn't say you make it better, but if you look at it from a different angle or perspective, it doesn't necessarily make it as bad, maybe? I don't know. That maybe doesn't make any sense. But if you look at it from a comedic viewpoint, it might be more bearable. So, but yeah, I rest my case. I didn't care for this at all, and I remain steadfast in that, and I don't really ever plan to watch it again. So, yeah.
But Kyle, you do say it holds up?
It is the lowest threshold of holding up, and that's why I wanted to make my overall point, which is we've never really found out the cusp, I don't think, of holds up or not holds up. There's a very fine line, and I think this toes the line, and it toes it enough that I think it barely holds up. Barely. Would I watch it again? Certainly not. If it was on again and I had to watch this over the Santa Claus, I would put this on because this is infinitely more funny, quirky, interesting, and predictable, and not showcasing a lazy father who's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And in general, with bad movie, bad acting, at least this movie does not take itself too seriously ever. And the Santa Claus does. And I that's why I hate those fucking Christmas movies, because it's all about something else other than Christmas. And this is just yeah, we're going to do the Christmas thing. We don't care. We're going to make it funny. I'm like, respect. Cool. Great. You're not trying to shove some stupid lesson down my throat.
I want to say one last thing, and I'll leave it at that. Kyle, I'm pretty sure, and we'll have to go back and verify, but I'm pretty sure you said the Santa Claus held up.
Yes, but that's the thing about time and perspective is that you can change your opinion. And I watched it recently. I think it's a steaming pile of horse shit.
Well, and the point is, you said it held up, and you said this one held up, so you're still in your realm there. You're not deviating. I would go watch the Santa Claus over this, and that's another reason that I think it doesn't hold up. But this movie is so in the line that we're going to get subjective opinions on this. Like, we're going to get different opinions. So, like, and I kind of knew that when I was watching it, I was like, I think we're heading that way. Because some of us are going to hate this, and some of us are going to be like, it's all right, But I think we're
maybe. I was gonna say maybe if I had watched it when I was a kid, I might feel a bit differently. But this was my first time into it, so there's no nostalgia really to go off of. There's no. My mind isn't poisoned with that bias.
That's the reason I'm saying it doesn't hold up, because I did watch this as a kid in a very emotional moment in my life, and I didn't remember it.
And I think I'm saying it does hold up because we have a backlog and a volume of work now that we have gone over quite a few movies. And when we look at this in comparison to all of those, which I think is fair, while also contributing enough of the argument that we need to be going off of nostalgia as well, but also understanding that not all of us are going to have the same nostalgia kick off of these movies because we didn't always watch all the same ones, but our viewership might. I think that I'm safe and fair to say that this holds up in context of our overall works.
Maybe,
that's
but
fair.
I don't know. I that is a fair point, but I will say that this movie, along with the Cranks, if you go look up lists of worst Christmas movies ever made, these two are going to be on there. The Santa Claus does not, and I'm not trying to let
people have shitty taste. Jesus Christ! Everybody likes fucking Bud Light. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's awesome. I love it.
But those opinions exist for a reason, just like IMDb scores exist for a reason.
So
why don't we go into IMDb? We don't have to argue. We can have different fucking opinions, for God's sake. It's okay.
It's fun to argue. It's fun to argue.
It is.
It's fun to argue, but it's whatever.
Let's say
IMDb scores, Chase.
So Kyle, what would you give it on IMDb then?
What my IMDb score?
Yeah, what would be
5 on the dot.
Okay. Andrew?
Like a 4.6.
I was gonna say 4.2. That was gonna be my guesstimate on that. Kyle made a fair enough point to where I could say 4.5. He swayed me a little bit. What is the IMDb score on it?
5.1.
So Kyle's the closest on this one. Kyle's right on.
Just for reference, Christmas with the Cranks is 5.5.
Which we let's just say this. Let's say this as a group. Let's say this as a group. We can agree to disagree to agree that that's wrong.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. Just for reference, the Santa Claus is a 6.6 on IMDb.
Okay.
Just for reference.
This movie ranks right behind Christmas with the Cranks. Christmas with the Cranks is notoriously known as one of the worst Christmas movies, high-budget Christmas movies. There are some low-budget Hallmark movies. Those don't count in this category.
They don't.
This movie comes in second. I think it's got a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes as opposed to a 5%, which is what Christmas with the Cranks has. So that's some perspective. Also, it's weird to see this dynamic with Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb on these Christmas movies we're watching. But this is what we do at this show. We've reached into your childhood nostalgia. We're pulling the Christmas movies from your past out. And this shitmas that we pulled out today, we are disagreeing on. Me and Andrew think it doesn't hold up. Kyle thinks it holds up. I think you should watch it for yourself and let us know if you think it holds up. Then next week, we are going to look at another shitmas movie. We're going to look at 8 Crazy Nights. How do you feel about that one, Andrew?
I'm excited. It's been forever since I've seen that. I'm talking 15, 20 years, maybe. So, yeah, I'm very excited.
Kyle, what about you?
Yeah, I've never seen it, so I won't know.
It's got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is quality when it comes to Merry Shipmas movies. So we're going to dive full scale into that one next week. In the meantime, you can check us out on TikTok, Instagram, follow Kyle on Instagram. Let him know if you agree or disagree with him on this one and holding up. We'll see you.
Harass him too while you're at it.
Harass him, send him hate mail. In the meantime, we'll see you all next week for Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights.